welcome everyone to another episode of our GVM support webinar. This one deals with course administration. We have divided this into three parts simply because the course administration encompasses a lot of features that's on the LMS. So we have divided it up into three parts. In this part, what we will discuss is the different learning types that's available and how you can use them. Different ways to create courses on the LMS and how to set up a module and its security permissions. And in the new version, they have also put on security permissions in the session properties. So we'll look at that as well. And the other thing we will look at is how to manage enrollments in a module. First off are the different learning types that's available for you to create on the LMS. The most common is the online, which I'm sure you've already used. That's the basic SCORM package that you upload onto the system, and you've got your course set up for you. Similar to online, there's two other little-known learning types that's called coaching and special interest group. The difference between online and all of these two is just based on your requirements. It's just kind of a category. So if you feel that a course is targeted towards a specific group, you can set it up as a special interest group. Both these learning types work just like an online learning. On-the-job training is another one which allows you to attach a supervisor assessment to an online training. So again, this one works just like an online course, but in addition to all the features of an online course, this allows you to attach a supervisor assessment to it. If we just quickly have a look at the difference of an online and an on-the-job training. So first, if we look at an online one, so as you can see, you're pretty much familiar with this screen, I believe. Or you can see that you've got all your basic module properties and things like that. You've got your launch properties, and you've also got you can assign an exam, certification, and evaluation. This is where the on-the-job training differs from an online module. If we look at an on-the-job training one, you can see that instead of assigning an exam or a certification, what you've got here is a supervisor assessment to be added. And you can select who can do that assessment. It can be the direct appraiser or direct manager of the learner, or just the supervisor of the learner. I know in many cases, the direct appraiser and supervisor are thought to be one, but there are cases where you can have the two as separate. So in those cases where you've got users who are direct appraiser and supervisor, you've got those options to select. The next one we have got is also another common one that's used, classroom and workshop seminar. Now, both these kinds are face-to-face trainings. So you all may have used a lot of these classroom types. So basically, all you're doing is setting up a module and setting up dates when a class would take place. You can have a quick look at how a classroom looks like. Here's one that says how to make coffee. And you can see the difference here from online is in online you've got only one session, whereas with the classroom you can have multiple sessions on multiple dates. We'll have a look at these in detail when we do module setup and session setup. Next is a task type. A task type is a way to track on-the-job tasks that needs to be done during a training. So it's basically a list of things that you need to do, and you can set that up as a module and assign it to users. Just-in-time learning is a quick way of making learning materials available by just using a hyperlink. So just-in-time learning does not require an enrollment into a course. You can just make it available. Users go search for it, find it, just do it, and there's no record kept as individual transcripts for these kind of courses. So it's basically can be used for giving out reference materials or questionnaires or something like that that you'd want users to have a look at and be able to access. The next is an external certification. Now, this allows you to launch external courses that are hosted by external system like Skillsoft courses. It allows you to launch these courses and give them out to the learners. This again is not something that allows you to enroll participants because it is actually happening on an external site, but it allows you to set it up and click and make the link available for learners to access. The next one is external course. It's a course offered external to the online system, but for which administrators want to track registration, course time, location, and availability. So you can use this, again, it is also for external courses, but this one does a bit of tracking, which means you can actually have people in them. So one of them would look like that. So this allows users to access it and can add references to it. Self-training, paper and video, used to set up self-training courses instead of SCORM or AICC for self-training qualifications. If we have a look at one of these. As you can see, this has another one session. So it is kind of like online session, but you can use it to give out courses that you can use for, that the users can use for self-training. So you can attach a video to it, or it can be a paper-based one. But it works just like an online module. Next, we've got virtual classroom and virtual classroom archived. Now, this is for classrooms that you've got on WebEx or Adobe Connect that you can set up with your account details and then run the classrooms, and people will be able to access it. The virtual classroom archive is just for recorded virtual classroom sessions that people can access later for direct playback. The next one in is a learning program, or some call it blended learning. A learning program allows you to mix multiple learning types together under one umbrella and give it out to learners to do. So they would complete each of those modules or courses, and they will in turn complete the whole learning program. An equivalent could be a government qualification, so Cert 3 and Cert 4 could be ones which could come under a blended learning program. The next one is audio cassette, book, CD-ROM, and video. These are there mostly for legacy. They are no longer used, but you can if you want to. These are just references to audio cassettes, books, CD-ROM, or video that you have in your library. Just their information. People can just check them out and see, okay, I've got this book in the library. I'll go and check it out. So it's just more like a reference. Now, creating courses. There are 4 quick ways of creating courses. One, as you frequently use, is through manual process where you go to learning modules and you create learning modules and you create the module. Another quick way of creating a learning module or course is by cloning another module which is close to the one in features and in requirements to the one that you want to create. Third way is to using the import functionality and course CSV loader. And the fourth one is using the course web manager. We'll have a look at each of these processes. Going back to the system. Now, first is creating a learning module from the learning modules screen. So under Manage Center, under Learning, you've got the learning module screen. And in that, you've got a button called Create a Learning Module. You click that, you get a pop-up asking you for an ID. You can type one in. As IDs goes, shouldn't have any special characters or spaces in them. Or you can let the system generate one. Then you choose your learning type. In this case, I'll just choose an online kind. And you hit create, and the learning module is created. And then you just go and fill up the details. You can assign a catalog. And you can choose whether to show it to the learners or not. Now, a very common query that I get on support calls or support tickets is a question would go something like this. I have created a module and I've got people enrolled, they have done it, but when I go to run a report, that module does not show up and I am a system admin. So one of the reasons for that is the first thing to check is whether you have assigned a catalog to that module. If you have not assigned a catalog to a module, it does not show up on reports. So make sure that you've got a catalog assigned. If you haven't got a specific catalog, use the generic default public catalog to assign it to the module, and you would get that to show up in the reports. Another common one that I get is I've created the modules, I've got a catalog assigned, I've got all the permissions right, but the learners can't see it, and all the permissions and settings are correct. In those cases, the thing to check is whether the visibility checkbox is ticked. If this is unticked, that means learners can search for this course, but it will not show up on their search. Unless you have enrolled them specifically, they would not be able to get to this module. So these are a few tips and things to check if you think that you've set up everything correctly, but it's just not quite working the way you wanted it to. So this is an easy way of creating a learning module. We've got one created. Now we're ready to give it out to learners. Basically, that's all it takes to create a learning module manually. We will look at the setup of a learning module in the next screen later. The second way to create a learning module is by cloning a module. So we will use the one we've just created. And at the top, you can see the two page type icon is cloning learning module. So when you click this, it wants to copy the same module as a new one, and it asks for your new learning ID. You can choose one on your own, or you can leave the one that's suggested by the system. And you can also select what revisions of the module you want to clone. You can say either all the revisions or just the latest. I'll just keep on the latest, and you just hit clone. And the learning module is created, and it changes the title to say copy, but it is open for you to change and make changes as you want, as you require. Then you just make those settings, and you enroll people in or have people enroll themselves in. And that's how you can create a module by cloning another module. The third way of creating courses is to import a SCORM package. If you have used third-party vendors or course creators, they would, after they've created the course, they would give you a zipped file, which is known as a SCORM package. It could be in any of the two standards of SCORM, SCORM 1.2 or SCORM 2004. NTS supports both the versions. So once you get that package, all you'd have to do is import that package into the system, and it will create the course for you. So the way we do it is under learning, under import, we've got import content package. We'll browse and select the package that's been provided. It's a zip file, and we hit next. The file gets uploaded into the system, and it presents you with the module ID. You can keep it or you can change it to your liking. Clicking on Update Catalog Settings allows you to assign a catalog at that point. We will select default public catalog for this. And also the visibility. We can turn on the visibility here as well. And we go and click Import as New Bundle. It asks, in the newer versions, it will ask you to select a language because the newer versions support multiple languages. So we'll just say multi-language. And you can select the title as well. We'll leave it as is. Click Next. And your course is created. You open it up. It looks exactly like when you created it manually. Same, all the things filled up. You'll notice that the title's been filled up this time around and the catalog settings that we set. We can now make any other changes that we need to make this course more audience friendly, and can deliver this out. So that's another quick way of creating a course. There's also another way of creating a course, which is using the CSV loader. Using the CSV loader, and you can find a template to create the CSV on the system. So this is a template. As you can see, there's lots and lots of fields that are available that you can fill in to create the course. However, you do not need all of these fields. They are not all mandatory. The only mandatory ones are, as you notice in the help file here, is the action. So you either add, update, or delete. So add would be if you're creating a new one, you put A there. The module ID, the type, and the title are the most important ones that you need. So action, module ID, module ID type, and obviously title as well. You'd want a title in. And that's all you would need to fill up in that CSV to create the new course on the system. And then again, like all the other ones, you can go and modify to your liking. The last way of creating a course is using a courseware manager that's available on NTS. It is a kind of like a very quick authoring tool, and it's a very basic one as well. So the way you get to it is under Manage Center Learning, there is Courseware Manager, and you click on Courseware Listing. This allows you to create a new courseware. So we've got one here, we'll call it New Courseware Project. Under Courseware Properties, it allows you to put a title to the thing. And then we add a new lesson. And we can say this is topic 1. And this is asking for assets or resources. So I can attach another SCORM file or SCORM package that's already on the system to create the course, or I can just create, attach a video or a text file or a PDF or even an exam to create this course. At this point, we will just attach a PDF file that's on the system. And we click Update. And that's changed that to topic 1, and it's updated and attached that PDF to that topic 1. And then we save it, and we can do a preview of the course. This is how it looks like. And then we can publish this course. And just like all the other imports, it will ask you for a module ID, which you can keep as is. Click Show in Catalog, the default public catalog, click OK, and then again import as new bundle. And we have our course there, which is created through the course editor. We can have a look at how it looks over here. That's how it looks. So those are the few ways of creating a course. You can use any of those methods, but I think the most commonly used are the manual one and using of import, but cloning is a very good way to create courses as well. Next on our topic is module setup. So these are the features that you see under module properties when the module is created or the course is created. So in your NTS, you'd probably look at it as being called Catalog Editor. So over here, few options that we will have a look at. There's lots of options and features available. You may see more or less depending on the NTS version you're using and the way your system is configured. We will deal with the most common ones. As you can see, there's lots and lots, and we just won't be able to cover it in time if we look at all of them. So first off, let's look at the module properties. Under module properties, we've got defined module properties. As we've seen before, we can set the title here, the visibility of the course, assign a catalog, categories and subjects and all those things. So basically a few bits and pieces of information that you want the users to see. You can put in target audiences over here as well, and that's all you set up over here. The next one is references. References allow you to add documents or resources that users would find useful. So let's say how to do PDF, or even some instructions on the course, or it could be what to bring on the day, just a document that shows all of that, some rules and regulations maybe. So all of these can be added in as a reference, and you can directly put a URL if it's an external reference, or you can select from one of the documents that you already have on the system. And you can also say whether it is for learner or it is for instructor. And you add that in, and it comes up over here. And these references show up in the knowledge center of the course, like that. The next one is prerequisites. Sometimes users have to do another course before they're eligible to do this particular course. So that's where prerequisites come in, which is 2.2, where you can assign prerequisites. Prerequisites could be any course on the system. So let's say for this course we put this one, or the child safe standards. These two courses are prerequisites to the courseware course. So a user has to do these courses before they can attempt to enroll into this course. We can check what kind of prerequisites checking we've got, or rules we've got. There are a few available. One is overall status is completed self-started, in process, or not started, which means basically that they have to be either enrolled in it or completed the course. The second option is overall status must be completed, which means they have to complete these courses before they can enroll into this courseware course. The third one is a bit not very commonly used, but what it means is CMI lesson status must be completed. So it is only for online courses. So online courses send a completion status to the LMS using the CMI lesson status. So if the online course says it's completed, this rule only allows a user to enroll into courseware course if CMI lesson status must be completed. How does it differ from an online normal completion and course saying it's a completion? In the LMS, you can complete a user using admin rights, and you just go to the participants and you mark them as completed. They may not have even opened the course, but for, say, recognition of prior learning, you've gone and completed them. So in those cases, the CMI lesson status would be blank. There would be nothing because the course wasn't even accessed and no information from the course has passed on to the LMS. So in those cases, this criteria, if you set it for these prerequisites, will not be met and user would not be able to enroll. And the last one is not previously enrolled, so they only will be able have been enrolled into this course as one. They have not enrolled before, just one instance of their enrollment, and that would fulfill these prerequisites. So And you can have additional prerequisites, putting more rules before people can enroll into this course. So that's prerequisites in module properties. Enrollment restrictions. You can have different enrollment restrictions set up. Options available are unrestricted and or module restrictions. So using module restrictions, so you can say when people can enroll into this course. So if you've got a course set up, but you do not want to give it out to users for the next week or so, you can set a date when people would be able to enroll into the course. Before that, they can probably search for the course, but they would not be able to enroll. And you can also put a deadline to when the enrollment stops. Other rules that you can put is selection of organization. So you can have a specific target group that you want this course to do. You can set those organizations here. And you can also limit how many participants or learners per organization that you have selected over here would be able to enroll into the course. Same with job profiles. You can select job profiles. People who have those particular job profiles would be able to enroll into this course. So there are a few ways you can reduce or target your target audience for a module or a course. Knowledge center setup. Knowledge centers are basically dashboards for a course. I've had this question asked quite a number of times, what's the purpose of this? Knowledge center is a place where it combines all the information and all the things that you can do on the course into one page or dashboard. So a knowledge center, if we have a look at it, let's close this. Knowledge center looks like this. So over here you have got the tools where you can have resources that you've added to the system. You have a personal notebook that you can take notes. The users can take notes. You've got your certifications and your learning history and a whole lot of other options. Now, all of these options can be turned on and off using the Knowledge Center setup options under 3.1. If you do not wish to have a Knowledge Center enabled for your modules, you can just untick that and you'll only have the module link to access the module. If you turn on in a Knowledge Center, you have got these all options that you can turn on and off. So if you don't want a chat area, you just turn it off. Certification area, evaluation area, and so on. So whatever you select here will be the ones that be shown up on the Knowledge Center. Next one up is module security, and I do get this question a lot, especially where there are different levels of admins in the system. So if you have set up administrators with a reduced access to the system or more specific access to the system, courses created by them or courses created by you are not available for them to edit or even view, to modify, because the module security has not got their permissions on it. So the way we do it is under 2.1, where you have module security, you go into permissions, you're presented with two options, read-only access and unrestricted. So if you've got an admin whom you only want to be able to view all the information that you have set up on the course, but not able to modify them. You only provide read access, and there's multiple ways you can do it. You can either give it to a role directly, or an organization, or a group, or even using one of the user attributes that's set up on the system. Or you can individually select users. If you want them to give full permission, you go into unrestricted access, and using the same parameters, assign unrestricted access to those admins. And then you save, and you close, and the permissions set up. So if you have got admins of a different level with restricted access coming to you and saying, okay, you send me an email saying you've created this course, but I can't see it. I can't, when I search for it, it doesn't come up. The good thing to do is to check the module security of that course and see if you have given that person permission to view and or modify. Moving on, we'll look at session setups. So after you have set up the module properties, the next thing to look at is the session properties of a module. So sessions are where you have your enrollments set up. So it's where you set up dates for courses. We'll have a look at a classroom type for this one actually. Over here, we will have how to make coffee seems a good one. So going into session properties, as you can notice that there are some sessions there, or I can create a session or a date when I want a course to be run. So clicking new session creates a session for that module. And then just like module properties, I can put title to a session and some descriptions. I can make the status of that session active, because only active sessions show up in a user's search, and they can only enroll into active sessions. You can also target organization. That session could only be for a particular organization. So if you had a situation where you wanted one group to go in one day and the other group to go in another day, you can target the organization, and when those groups search, they'll just see the session available for them only. You can have course-specific approvers. You can set those up, and you can say how many people can enroll to this session, put enrollment limits. You can also do the waitlist handling over here as well. So automatic upgrade is the default one, which means if the course is full, everyone automatically goes into a wait list. And if someone withdraws from the course, someone from the wait list directly goes into the course. The system decides based on who tried to enroll when. Or you can do a manual one where administrator decides, or you can say no, regardless of who withdraws, keep the wait list there. Or you can say no wait list. So if it's full, they're rejected. And again, just like module, you can have enrollment begin dates and enrollment deadlines as well. Homework due dates and other features are there. You can use them and put more specific targets on that session. The next one is edit session class schedule, and only available in classroom types, workshop types modules, where you can set a date when that session is going to take place. So let's say this is on the 10th for one day, and you can set a venue. We select one from that's already there, and we select a room. This only shows up if you have got the training centers and venues set up. If you haven't got any set up, you can just type in one like that. Save it. That's down there. Next one that we can look at is the enrollment restrictions again on a session. Enrollment restrictions on a session is pretty much similar to how the module restrictions work. So you've got enrollment deadlines, you've got you can select organizations and all the same features. You can say set up the restriction session by session, or you can say use the one that I've set up for the module, or you can say unrestricted, so that means everyone can get in. Works the same way as the module one. Assigning instructors. So usually with face-to-face learnings, and sometimes in online ones as well, you have instructors or tutors or facilitators. You can set them up under number 7 in session properties, which allows you to select users to be set as instructors, like that. Or you can do a dynamic assignment, but this only works if you are using job profiles and competencies in your system. So based on the job profile and competencies, the system determines who is the best person to instruct this course, and they give you those options, and you can select users based on that. But you can definitely do a manual assignment as well. That's selecting instructors. Session security works the same way as the module security. This is a new feature in version 13. You may not see this feature available in some of the older versions, but it works the same way as the module security does. So again, admins would come to you saying, I can see the course, but I can't see the session. And good thing to check is the session security and see if they have given if you have given them read-only or unrestricted access to that session. Checklist. Another cool feature in this one is a checklist in session properties. This basically allows you to create some checklist items like book slides for learners. That's very important, of course. And you can say who's the owner, that is, who is responsible to do this. And you can set a deadline 7 days before the session starts date. And you can send a reminder to the person as well, just 1 day before the deadline. And you click OK. Reminder dates needs to be in the future. So, okay. So now this is an important reminder or task list that Jack Peterson has to complete when before this course start or after the course finishes, and it usually shows up for that person's their checklist. Where's the checklist? We should see. It shows up as one of their tasks in the tasks list. My system is not configured to show it, but it would show up in their task lists. The next one in the list is enrollment management. So there's different ways you can enroll people into a course through group enroll or using auto enroll, or you can do enrollment wizard. You can also do transcript import. So the way to enroll participants into a session, you enroll people into a session directly. First option is to use group enroll. So all you do is select participants. Now I'll enroll myself like that. And you select action as group enrollment. There are a few options, checkboxes here available. One is to suppress automatic emails. So if we check that, it means that the enrollment confirmation emails will not go out, or any other email that's attached to the system. Or we can just put in an email address here and all the emails will go to that one email address. Select suppress automatic emails here. Override. So this is useful when you are doing back enrollment. So you're enrolling people to a session where the date has passed. Clicking override allows you to enroll people into a course where the date has passed. And the last one is perform prerequisite checks. So because group enroll is an admin feature, by default, the system overlooks any prerequisite requirements for this group enroll. But if you want the system to do that check that box, and it will check for the prerequisites. And then you hit execute group enroll. And successfully completed. And you'll find the participant enrolled under that. I can at the same time, using the group enroll functionality or that screen, withdraw people in groups as well. So select action group withdrawal from the drop-down. Same options. The good thing about this group withdrawal is that if you withdraw using this feature, there will be no record left on the user's transcript. So this will completely remove it from their transcript. As you can see, the record's been removed completely. Now, this group withdrawal works for only if a user is in not started or incomplete or in process status. It will not work for learners or users or participants who have already completed the module or have been set in the status of completed or any of those completion status like passed or failed. Auto-enroll is another feature to enroll people into a course. Auto-enroll allows you to set some parameters which allows the system to select the learners that you want to be enrolled into the course. It is a nightly process, runs every night as a part of the daily housekeeping process. As an admin, you also have the ability to trigger it manually from the system's menu. But the way you would set it up is basically you'd set up a role or an organization. So I want everyone from the system. And you can also add some user attributes or using job profiles, some enrollment information. So I can say where the join start date is after the 8th of August. And all of those parameters, once I've set those, I'll go and set auto-enroll targets. And it will become active. You can see that by the date that it sets here. And that means that people, anyone who falls into this rule or this category, when they log in, as soon as they log in, within 3 seconds or 30 seconds, depending on your system configuration, they will be enrolled into this course. Now, how does the daily task come into play? It only comes into play when I say allow offline auto-enrollment. So when I say allow offline auto-enrollment, that means the users do not have to log in to be automatically enrolled into this module. And this is what triggers the daily nightly task to enroll people in. So if you have got this set up and people are not being enrolled in the morning you expected them to be, make sure that this one's checked. And then once you check that and set that auto-enroll targets, from the next day onwards, it will take over. So that's auto-enrollment. Participants transcript status. As admins who've been using the system, you probably are already familiar with this number 6, participants, where you can change participants' status. I'll just enroll myself again. So I can share. Over here, you can change the status of the learner's transcript. So you can set it to completed, or to no show, waiver, exempt, and withdrawn. If you select withdrawn from here, it remains on the user's transcript record as withdrawn. So there's the difference between using group withdrawal and withdrawal from the participant's screen. So let's say we set this to completed, and we go and save that, and it goes and completes the person. So that's how the participant's transcript status change works. You can also do a few other stuff over here. You can send an email to that particular person, or you can resend the enrollment confirmation to the person as well. Enrollment wizard is another way of enrolling people into the system. This is available from the Managers menu. It may be called Enrollment Wizard on your one. It may be called Assign Training, depending on your language strings or terminologies that you use. But the screen would look something like this. So you'd select an action. Let's say we go enroll. We select the course we want to enroll into. And we select the users that we want to enroll. And again, we've got those options to suppress or not suppress emails. No, suppress emails. And selection on launch, the language. We'll just select multiple language. And once that's done, we click enroll. And it goes and processes the enrollment. And at the same time, what this one does is gives you a history of the action that you have done. It gives you a log file, and if any of the enrollments failed, it gives you an error report. You can open the error report and just like that, and see if there's any error. In this one, there wasn't any error. It was successful. But if there's an error, it will tell you what the error is and why did the enrollment failed. The last option to enroll participants or learners into a course in the LMS is using the transcript import process, which you will find under Manage Center, under Import, and Training Records CSV Loader. Again, you'll find a template available for you to use. Looks something like that. Again, not all of these fields here are mandatory. Depending on what you require and the learning type, you can omit some of these values here and leave them blank. The mandatory ones are displayed over here. So user ID, learning title are the main ones that you need. And the rest you do not need. You need the LO type as well. LO type can be left blank. By default, it takes online. But these are the only fields you need: user ID, learning title, and LO type. This will create the enrollment into the course that you've selected, and the student will be set as not started. Now, this can also be used to upload already completed courses, and in those cases, you need to put a start date and an end date. And once you put that, it will create a record for that user with the status of completed or withdrawn or whatever status you set over here. The options you can see from the help file. Passed means passed, completed means completed. Anything that there is valid past or future dates is in progress. If there's no start or end date present, then it's not started, and so on. So that's the last option where you can use to enroll users into courses. So that brings us to the end of all the topics for this part 1 of the course administration webinar. Just to remind you that there's different ways of requesting support using the support ticket, in the email, and a phone, but we prefer the support ticket mode, which goes directly to the support team and is answered by them. Email, you can email me directly to get support, but again, we prefer the support ticket, and phone is obviously available as well. These are your main support contacts. So me, there's my phone number, 96789046, and my email, ilatif@gvmedia.com.au. If you have any questions regarding your account, you can contact Rebecca and Peter, and their contacts are on the screen now. Thank you. So I'm ready to take questions. Any questions? Hello?
Look, I'm fine. Thank you very much.
I'm fine too, Ishti.
Okay. If you can't think of any questions now, if you have any queries and things, just email me, or even put in a support ticket as well, and I'll answer your questions. Okay. So in that case, if there's no questions, that ends our webinar 2. I hope that was useful to you. Any questions and queries, just email me or call me, and I'll answer your queries. So thank you, everybody, for joining in and understanding the last technical difficulties. Thank you for joining in. Thanks. Bye.